Hi everyone, and welcome to this video about the potential impact of ecological variables on algal productivity in the Slufter by Group 12, the Algal Biomass Babes. The Slufter is home to many breeding birds and all other types of organisms. It is therefore important that their habitat and everything that lives there remains. Algae in the Slufter are the main primary producers, and according to bottom-up forces, their biomass determines the biomass of the trophic levels above. The quality of the Slufter water should therefore remain favorable for these algae. If these algae are under stress due to changing aspects of the ecosystem, due to climate change for example, their numbers could be reduced in the future, and the food source for organisms of the next trophic level could be under pressure.
The first research question is there a gradient in environmental variables, salinity, pH and temperature, and algal biomass? The second question is, what are the effects of the environmental variables on the biomass of microalgae? And the third question is, what is the microalgal species composition in the Slufter? We expect a gradient in temperature with a higher temperature land inwards as the colder seawater warms up as it moves land inwards. We expect a gradient in salinity due to higher evaporation in warmer water. We predict algal biomass to change with a gradient as different algae flourish in different environments. And we expect to find different microorganisms like green algae, brown algae and cyanobacteria.
We took samples from 12 locations around the Slufter to measure pH, temperature and salinity with 3 replications of each measurement and measure the algal biomass with algae torch. After doing field measurements, the samples are brought to the lab tent and filtered. The samples are analyzed with spectrophotometer and phytophem to know the algal composition and abundance. Moreover, optical density and chlorophyll concentration are used as a proxy for algal biomass. Then, it was time for data analysis. The data that we collected from measurements are processed and analyzed with correlation assessment, multiple linear regression, and t-test.
Then for the results. To answer the question as to whether the environmental variables have a gradient along the Slufter, we found a gradient in pH and temperature, with lower pH and temperature more land inwards. We didn't find a gradient for salinity. To answer the question as to whether there's a gradient in algal biomass, our analysis shows different results based on 2 different methods. Data obtained with the spectrophotometer says there is a gradient, with lower algal biomass more land inward. However, data obtained with the algae torch says there is no gradient. Then we move on to our main research question, whether the environmental variables affect the biomass. Based off our data, we found that a higher temperature was associated with higher algal biomass, but for pH and salinity, no significant association was found. As for the composition of the algal biomass, data obtained with the phytophem says there are more brown algae than green algae along the Slufter, and says that there are no cyanobacteria. Again, we found differing results with differing methods, because data obtained with the algae torch says that they are cyanobacteria, even an equal amount of cyanobacteria compared to other algae.
In the Slufter, we found a gradient in temperature and pH along the stream, with lower pH and temperature more land inwards. We also found a gradient in algal biomass, with lower algal biomass more land inwards. Increased temperatures were associated with increased algal biomass. The reliability of the temperature measurements is questionable, as measurements were taken throughout the day. Brown algae seem to be the most dominant, and the abundance of cyanobacteria is unclear. 2 different measuring devices showed completely different results. This brings the reliability of our research in question. For future research, we recommend examining the cyanobacteria in the Slufter with the appropriate method, since the 2 methods that we used had contradictory results. To summarize, the effects of a changing environment on algal biomass are of importance to the whole ecosystem, as a change in algal biomass can affect higher trophic levels. More research is needed to further understand this. This was our video presentation. Thank you for watching.